All right, Beans, we're live and we're back. I don't know what caused me to turn on the rave playlist, but I was just like, why not? And now we're going to talk about the Academy Awards briefly, or more so the reaction to the Academy Awards, which is generally what people do. So for one thing, this year there was no host, and people were kind of joking about it. And I don't know if I'm like old and my sense of humor has just died, but nobody's funny anymore. I think all the jokes they were just telling didn't work out. So we're gonna say like the few major things that happened. First up, Into the Spider Verse won Best Animated Picture, which really surprised me because everyone thought, oh, it's gonna go to Wreck It Ralph 2 or Incredibles 2, but no, it didn't. It actually went to a film that many people thought deserved to win. Of course, some people will argue Isle of Dog should have won naturally because it's a stop motion film, and those take 200 years to make. Cause you literally have to pretend like my finger right here is like, the it's like the thing. You literally can't just go, like, down like that. You have to move it like that and then shoot, like, you literally have to move it inches a second to get the motion down, and that's what I found most impressive about the film, and actually I have to go check it out. And then the second thing, well, though I'm not gonna go over, like, every category because there's, like, best editing, that went to, the Queen movie and, best costume, but we're gonna just focus on that, and then we're gonna focus on best picture. The film that actually won best picture was Green Book, and everyone was angry. They were like, "Oh my god, Black Panther should have won. Black Panther was such a good movie. It's racist that this movie won." But the funny thing is they probably didn't even see the movie. So this movie is actually about, and this was based on a true story. This actually happened. A black jazz pianist and his like white Italian bodyguard, and he's going on tour in like the South in the 60s, and everyone knows how fun of a place that was. So this movie was not shying away from issues of racism, and this was also for we're going to just say it in a time perspective. A black man and a white guy having a relationship like that. They got close through their the ride, and since the white guy was his bodyguard, it was his job to keep him safe. And in the South, it wasn't, wasn't all sunshine and daisies when you were going down there. So this film that actually tackled like racist issues and was like really really good, and please go watch it, please. I'm going to do that today. Go watch it, all of you. And some people thought Roma should have won. I tried to watch it. I felt like it was kind of weird. For one, I'm not used to black and white films. Of course, I watched Schindler's List like 1,000 times over, and watching silent films for the novelty and it being those were the first films ever. And then you watch like the black and white, classic Frankenstein and Dracula and things like that, which are fun to watch. So now Black Panther, and I don't know if I spoke about this film really. I think I might have, but I'm gonna say something, and I know I'm gonna get the eggs thrown at me. It wasn't that good. It was not that good. So we're gonna talk about it just in comparison to other superhero movies. So for one thing, the superhero action wasn't as good as others. Of course, it was made by Disney. They had this huge budget and all that other stuff, but really the film was just not that good. Like I went to watch it in the movie theater, like so I had the full experience, and I'm trying to sit there and I'm like, when's the plot gonna start? Like, you know, of course, they have Wakanda. Wakanda's hidden in this middle of this like African country. I forgot if they made it up or not. And then, the ruler, he gets the powers of the Black Panther. He has to fight in the brawl, and then the guy comes in. He was the rightful ruler, whatever. And I was just sitting there like, is like none of this really made sense. Like usually plots, you know what's going on, or if it's a predictable plot, you could go, oh, it's gonna go through this step. Like take a lie and reveal plot. The guy's gonna lie about something. He's gonna live through the lie. The lie is gonna benefit him for 5 seconds. Then all of it's gonna come crashing down. Then he has to say he told the truth. So it wasn't even that. Like predictable plots, if you can make the ride better than the destination, then you can do that. But this movie, the plot was kind of just all over the place. And, they were trying to steal the technology. And then the king didn't want the technology to go out into the world. And then the guy who's supposed to be the villain, he wanted the technology to go out there and whatever. And then, you get to your stereotypical big epic battle or superhero fight, whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't even that good. Like, usually, especially when you watch the Avengers films, those action sequences are amazing. And the CGI usually just blends and it's like really good. And you're sitting there like, oh my God, this is awesome. I don't care if, this is $20 grillion worth of CGI and all that. But here, it wasn't like it felt very CGI. Like, it felt like you're in the 2000s watching like a crappy, sci-fi, like, those films they play on Sci-Fi, like Sharknado and things like that? Like, it kind of felt like that, and you can't even laugh at it like you could laugh at Sharknado. You have to kinda, you have to, like, you can't necessarily suspend your disbelief. It was just like, "This is really CGI-y." And the set design I thought was okay. There were a few nice moments, like when he was in the I think it was in, like, the purple dust, he was getting his powers back or whatever. I forgot, like, why they put him in dust. But, there, like, I thought it was kinda nice, the purple background and the panther coming out and his, like, father appearing to him or whatever. Like, I thought that was nice. And there were some touches that if you actually do look at African culture, those are, like, legit things. Like, you saw that, they have, like, like, it looks like their skin has been, like, punctured multiple times. I can't tell you what tribe does that, but that's an actual thing that that tribe does specifically. And they have people with these lip plates and, some other, like, small details that were probably good. And I thought they were pretty good when you actually, like, go and research all of them. You're like, "Oh, cool, that was actually a thing." But as far as your typical superhero movie, it wasn't great. And then when they nominated it for Best Picture, I was just sitting there like, "Are you serious? Are you serious right now? Why?" Like, it was a mediocre superhero film, and they're putting it up there with stuff like Schindler's List and Life is Beautiful and The Godfather. Well, I'm not gonna talk about Titanic. Oh, that movie's horrible. Yeah, I'm really gonna get the Rotten Tomatoes thrown at me. But, when you think Best Picture, you think of either it could be something, like, that hasn't been done before. So, you take The Godfather, which was just, like, this amazing narrative story, or you take something like, well, Gandhi, which, historical movies have also been very popular with, doing historical related films, i.e. Green Book. Green Book was a historical film and it won, and historical films are very common. If you take Gandhi or Schindler's List, which are based on historical events and things like that, and those movies, are really good. And things like, well, Dallas Buyers Club. I know this is a movie, I feel like a lot of people have seen it, but this became one of my favorite movies ever, just on how it tackled just so much complicated stuff, with especially the AIDS epidemic. This guy kind of going from like this Texas sort of, well, we'll call him a redneck, to like really like appreciating the gay community. Especially, he had to work with a no, it wasn't no, transgender means you get the surgery. I didn't think the guy had the surgery. He just was a kind of cross dresser, played by Jared Leto, and he actually won the Academy Award for, I don't think he won best, it was either best actor or best supporting actor for that specific role he did. And like, you think of movies like that, that's what you say, okay, that's a best picture. Like, that is a film that everyone could unanimously agree that this film is great. And the other noms in there were fine too. Like, they weren't, this was a pretty weak class in terms of the films being like really, really good, and everyone, people were like, "Oh my god, I'll be totally okay with whoever wins." But to see Black Panther in there, I was just like kind of shaking my head, like, why would you put this in? And the funny thing is, there was another film in there. It was Black Klansman, and a lot of people don't know this, but this film actually was a thing in the '60s. This was actually a remake, which I find really funny. And this film, I don't know if it was made by the Black Panther specifically, and not the movie, the actual group. It was made by one of those, like, Black power groups that had come up in, like, the '60s, and It was the same kind of the same plot, except I think this one was a little more comedic. This one was like when they did it in the 60s was more like serious. There was a very light-skinned guy, light-skinned looking black guy. He went undercover in the KKK. He went to the rallies, things like that, burning the crosses. And I found it funny that that one popped up. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're making over a pretty like cult classicy movie. Of course, the favorite I heard it was very great historically. Green Book. Now that I'm like reading about the plot, and I'm seeing that like, oh, this happened and all that. I'm like, okay, I know why this won Best Picture. And what was the other thing? Yeah, I spoke about Black Panther for like 10 minutes. There's something oh, Roma. Roma was also like really, really good and things like people think it's good. I have to watch it. I watched like the first half when they're just kind of dumping the water in the drain. I'm like, okay, I kind of have to finish this film and see if I like it. So that is my Oscars discussion because in all honesty, I didn't care about the other Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody, I forgot that got nominated. I mean, I feel like as I've gotten older oh, trust me, Queen's a great band. You don't have to tell me it's a great band, but I've kind of fallen out of touch with listening to their music and, the film, they didn't really, because this is supposed to be a Queen biographical film, like, this is supposed to be, like, a very high budgety one, not just, with kinda documentary style where they interview Brian May and everyone else, but they kinda left out, the oh, another radio, host walked in, I'm just waving hi to him, so they didn't mention him getting AIDS, they kind of, like, briefly said, "Oh, you have AIDS," but they didn't explicitly cover it, and that's kind of what rubbed people the wrong way. Now, they did, cover the music more in the film, and that's fine, but to leave out such a huge part of I don't wanna call AIDS mystique, but, kind of the mystique of Freddie Mercury, how he, like, was kinda this huge, huge star, and he got AIDS, and he slowly, sadly died, and things like that, that kinda was left out of the film, which I found surprising, to say the least, but okay, now that's my Academy Award, spiel that I just gave there. So, of course, I'll be back next week if it doesn't snow again, and actually next week, I will finally be 21, I will be able to go out finally. It's been way too long. It's been so long. I just wanna go out and have fun and things like that. So, for all of you out there, have a good week. Good luck with your midterms. You're gonna get through them. Trust me. You're gonna do fine. You're gonna remember, kids. C's get degrees. Remember that. Unless you're in the speech path department. Other than that, I'm gonna pray for you. So I'll see you guys another day. See ya.